All right, in this video, we're going to do a quick demonstration of the software and see kind of how it works, how we load it and whatnot. So in the other videos, we kind of went through all of the other stuff. We looked at the communications module or model and how the SSRs worked. And in this, we're actually going to just kind of make it work. I'm going to try to step through it here, and I want you to watch it first and then listen and then see if you can follow along later. All right, so the first thing I want to show is the main page for the K64F. So if you haven't already, you need to spend some time getting used to the embed environment. So read through this page, and the big thing you need to do here is follow the instructions. It says you have to follow instructions to upgrade the firmware to work with embed. And once you do that, you can connect it to the PC and it shows up as this drive. So on my machine, I can come to the embed drive, and it mentions it has this embed.htm file. And that's the main way that we download firmware. So I'm going to step through it really quick here, but I want to point out a few other things you need to know. So the other thing we're going to need here is that simultaneous to the mass storage device, we can also get a serial, like a virtual COM port. So make sure you install the driver, and it'll tell you after you get the firmware updated with the embed plugged in, run the installer for the driver. And so for me, and let me just bring this up here so you can see it. I have an embed serial port COM9. Okay? Now, next thing. Once you do that, you should play with a demo application. Create a simple Blinky application, download it, make sure you can work, and get through the process of using it if you never have. That's very important. So what I'm going to do is, it's next to trivial to do it. So we go on compiler, and I can click new, and we can call it Freedom GPIO. Nope, it already exists. I'll call it 2 because I already made this before. And it'll bring in a very simple program. And you should always do this first as a sanity check to make sure you can blink the LED. Assuming you can do that, the next thing you should do is come to the MonkeyDo homepage. This is the first piece of software you're going to need. And import the program. So you'll notice you come down here, there's the wiki pages. You can kind of read this. And we'll go to home. And you can just click on import this program and bring it in. Now for me, it's already imported. Alright, once the program's loaded, we can, once we get it imported, we can compile it. So let me click on compile here. And we get a success. Everything's good to go. And for me, I have it goes into my user folder downloads. Now to load the program, there's kind of 2 steps here. First, we've got to get the drive where the embed shows up. Right there. Here's a nice part. You just drag and drop. I can see an LED blinking. And I can hear Windows re-enumerating, and we're good to go. Now, here's the key part. It's still not actually running. We actually have to hit reset to kind of reload it. So I'm going to hit reset. Now, one thing I'm going to point out here, I have my Ethernet jack kit plugged into my network. My network, it goes directly into an Ethernet switch, which then gets connected to my router and goes to the net. So by default, the software works such that it uses DHCP, and we'll see in a minute that'll get an IP address. But as a debugging interface, in addition to the WebSockets interface that I described in the overview of the software and the website or the communication model. I also have a serial port, a basic terminal that does all the processing. So I like to use a program called Putty. So let me bring it up here. And I believe I am on, I'm going to check my, yep, I am COM9. And I'm going to bring it over here, hit enter, and I get my little caret for my terminal. Now this terminal is enabled. I'm just going to hit reset here just to restart it. Ethernet and NIT. You can see it DHCP'd and I automatically got my IP address. There it just connected to the WebSocket server and I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you this piece of code. So the way it works is that any data that comes over the serial port gets put in a byte queue. It's just a software queue that goes to what's called the terminal. The terminal is just a piece of software that processes lines. Lines are separated by carriage returns and line feeds to look for a command. And then when a command is entered, what it'll do is call a function, what's called a callback, to do something with that command. So it gives you a way to type in commands, and it's a way to do it over this virtual COM port. Now, simultaneous to that, and I'll let you read through the comments in here on your own, I also route all WebSocket traffic, because it just comes in strings, into the terminal. So the same terminal that takes in things from the virtual serial port also will just take things over the WebSockets and vice versa. So the terminal as it sits implements one command called SSR to turn on the solid state relay. So I'll give you a quick peek into terminal.c++. Really all there is just a struct to initialize the terminal where we say we map a string to a function pointer, a function callback. So when someone types in this command or this command, it'll execute this function name. And I get a help string. So the SSR command, you can read as well as I can. What it does is that it just looks at two arguments to determine which relay to turn off and on, and the actual state. And so you can read through this on your own, how the SSR command. So that command can come in via the virtual COM port, or it can come in via the WebSocket. So the main loop routes it all in from either. And that gives us a nice way to debug. So I'm going to bring this back up. So you notice if I can type in help, it brings up my command list. So if I just type in SSR, it gives you my help string. So I could type SSR 0 is my high current relay and I want to turn it off. So it sets the state. Now I can type in SSR 0, set it to state of 1. That turns it on. Now you can't see it here. You will in a little bit when I bring out the other camera, that actually just turned on a light. I actually have a desk or a lamp, a floor lamp wired to the solid state relay. So I'm going to turn it back off. All right, and this gives us a nice debugging interface. Now, so that's the firmware. What's the next part? In the software overview video, we also talked about the JavaScript page that makes this all work. So from the other side. So if I open up my GitHub repository, if you remember, I have this other JavaScript page called MonkeyDo Sensor RX that receives data. Now I'm just going to get rid of these other windows here. So this is actually receiving data in real time from the program we just loaded. And so this page connects to a WebSocket way out in the internet. Even though it's a local HTML page, it's going out to the WebSocket and getting data. And so the other thing I can do is notice how I get this temperature data. So it's about 25 degrees C in my office. I have a big red button that I can click and release. And let me see if I can get this. And when I click the big red button, that sends out a SSR command through the WebSocket. But notice how it also routes it through the terminal. So it's just another way of me getting through this command line terminal to make the thing work. Now, that's how the software works there. Now, just to show you that I can make this work anywhere, let me do this. Let me go. I loaded this same page, JavaScript, on my web page on the 2pl-1.com. And look, I'm running the same program. I'm receiving my temperature data, and I can send my SSR command. So right now, let's do this. Let me switch over. I got to switch over to my other webcam, and let me switch to that, and we can kind of take a look at the system and kind of see it work. All right, here I am. I've kind of switched to mobile mode. I'm no longer using my headset, but my remote camera. So we can see we still have this web page here. Big red button, still reporting temperature. Now we can see down below here, I have my Freedom K64F, and you notice I have some wiring into the Freedom board, connected to the Freedom Auto. And there's that big solid state relay, and I can see the Ethernets. You can see a little blinky LED there. Now what I'm going to do is I have this all connected to this lamp in here. So what I'm going to try to do is get everything on the screen here. Click the big red button. Ta-da! Look at that. Turn it off. So this is a very simple Internet of Things, where this is a complete system that my big red button is sending up commands to a WebSocket server, and God knows wherever, probably in the UK, wherever the WebSocket server is, rerouting it all the way back down to this K64F with the Freedom.auto. That's controlling a solid state relay. Also, I can be in a web page, click a button, and turn the light on. Now, we're also reporting temperature. So we could have all kinds of process monitoring going on, and it's really neat. So I hope this gets you thinking about some neat stuff you can do. Really, the sky is the limit from here. So try to come up with some good ideas, and you have a basic framework for a nice Internet of Things application. All right. Feel free to post messages on the MonkeyDo page with any questions, comments, or any other suggestions. And if you do any neat projects, share them. I'm sure that you can come up with something really neat. So you can put this on your phone now. You can have it run from a browser on your phone, and phone, a laptop, and it's just a lot of fun. All right. Talk to you later.